talk to us about Zach being cut? Who's going to have to take up the slack for him?
Well, I'm sure Coach Culley's gone over. I can't talk about the guys on our team now. Sometimes, pretty simple, sometimes divorce is a good thing. Then you move on. It's good for both parties. As far as what we're going to do going forward, we've had to play this way for a while. We had to play this way Sunday. Camus Gruger-Hill has stepped up every time we've asked him to change his role, sometimes on short notice. Last week, Kevin Pierre-Louis has gotten reps. Garrett Wallow was able to get reps. It was good getting Kristen Kirksey back, Neville Hewitt. So we'll go forward with those guys and feel good about them.
What would you like to see out of Wallow? And do you see you giving him more playing time over these last 5 games?
We've seen marked improvement from Garrett from day one. Smart, good football knowledge, but, like most young players, needed experience. He's gotten a lot of that. He's a student of the game. And now it's just about, daily improvement. We'll continue to talk to him about, as a young player, developing your body. We'll continue to talk to him about that. But we like some of the things he's done for a period of time. And what a great opportunity for some of those guys to get more reps.
Can you talk a little bit about the challenges that Seattle presents for you guys defensively in terms of what you're focused on this week?
Well, anytime you play a team with Russell Wilson, it's, I was in the league, I was out of the league, and when I was way back when I was in, I remember when he first came on the scene, and he's just played outstanding football, just about every game he's played. Some of the problems he gives you, he's a mobile quarterback, makes great decisions, keeps plays alive, and they have a system, of course, that's kind of set up to highlight some of those things. It's just not them as a passing team. They have great receivers, have a good combination of a quick receiver along with a big physical receiver, but there's still a commitment to the run. And we always go into games trying to stop the run, needing to stop the run, and that'll be the case this week.
This is a hurt defense to have stayed on the field almost 42 minutes.
Well, that's not ideal by any means, and I'm sure as you talk to our defensive guys, what they're going to talk about is that we kind of control how long we play each game. We control it, and we need to get off a few more times, take the ball away a few more times, and just in some critical situations, starting off with not letting a team run the football. That's the easiest way for an offense to stay on the football field, and we're just glad that we get another opportunity to make more improvements. We've seen the defense getting better, but we're not quite there yet. Hopefully we'll play our best ball this week.
How has Camus Gruger-Hill impressed you to this point as a person who might, and how has he shown to be someone that could be around the team for a long time?
Well, from the moment we signed him, he seemed like he's been here. Every time he could be in the building to get better, he's been there. We've asked him to, right now, he's of course, Frank was talking earlier, he's been a core special teams player. When we ask him to play that role, he can play all 3 linebacker position. In my coaching career, I haven't had a whole lot of players that's been able to play all 3 linebacker positions and play them well. This past week, he found out Sunday morning he was playing another position. And to have that type of game is, pretty special. But he's got great football knowledge. He's good in zone coverage. He can play man. You've seen him rush. We can do a lot of things with him. He's made us take notice to him.
What much does that have to do with him having a great position coach?
His position coach has done a heck of a job. Miles Smith has done a heck of a job. And seriously, though, it is quite a bit with what he's having to do, what the linebackers have done, that entire room of changing positions. That is hard to do. And even for a player, we talked about Garrett Wallow. Garrett, this past game, played 2 positions. That's hard for a young player to do, too. So pleased with what they've been able to do. They just keep answering the bell, play after play.
the other linebackers you coached who effectively played all three positions?
You say who have effectively, I caught that word you put in there, effectively play.
So the three you trusted to play all three, I guess.
Well, we haven't had, I'm saying we have not had guys to play an awful lot. Sheldon Quarles down in Tampa played all three, and Nick Roach in Chicago. Those are the only two that I can recall that have played all three. You try to lock a player in and just have him, because each one of them is different. It just, hey, you play linebacker? No, each one is different. But, you know, it takes a special guy to do that.
Well, since we're talking about linebackers and being serious, Miles coaching these guys, he's had a lot of changes. He's had a lot of guys that have been down. How do you feel about the job he's done? Because, you know, you took a chance bringing him here. Where do you think he is now as a position coach?
Well, I don't feel like I really took a chance, though. You know, John bringing him here, I kind of knew his football knowledge and what we were going to get. You know, when you work with someone and you know how they've learned the position and learned the defense, you kind of have an idea. And we've had certain linebacker coaches through the years gone through the same progression and gotten, you know, similar results. So it's not like, you know, it's shocking, but it's kind of good for you as a football coach to have to do that. Game is about adjustments, and sometimes a few more than you would have to, you would want to make, but that's what the game calls now.
He takes a lot of pride in his development as a coach.
Absolutely. Take a lot of pride, and we have a couple of young coaches on our staff. And, you know, when you're an older coach, I like the blend of some older guys along with some youth, and for them to see exactly how, you know, you think it should be done, how you should coach. And these challenges that come up only makes you a better coach.
The backs, particularly the nickels, say that they spend time with you personally looking at film and stuff. Do you do that with linebackers like Common?
Haven't met within the linebackers like it. Some of the positions I'm more hands-on with. I actually coach the nickel position. But while he's spending time with me, I meet with him every day. I meet with the nickels. I've always coached one position just about when I was a head coach, whatever, I always, you know, pretty much coached one position. A lot of those years have been the nickel position. It kind of ties in with everything. So that's why I know Tavier a little bit better and spend a little bit more time with him. But as a coordinator, I try to, you know, occasionally spend time with all the position groups, and especially individually.
What do you learn from when you take some time to work with specific position groups that maybe you wouldn't see if you were just looking at it from the bigger picture?
Well, I think the more you can be hands-on, I mean, I think you have a better idea of what guys really do go through. And that's why I've tried to keep my hands on all the positions. As a position coach, I've coached, except for the two interior guys, I've actually coached those positions. So, and I think it gives you a better idea of what is expected and the progression the guys has to, you know, what you have to go through to prepare. All of this just makes you, you know, be able to coordinate a defense a lot better, knowing exactly what goes into each one of those positions.
All set.
It takes a special player to do all three linebacker positions, just in the way that you can. Like, how different are those three, and what would it take to be able to do all those? They're
linebackers, and they play off of the ball a lot of times, but it's like that with every position. There's a big difference between, you have defensive backs, you have corner and safety. There's a big difference between the two. The nickel is a defensive back position too. There's a big difference between the two. And linebacker, even though they're on the second level, I mean, different gaps, different reads that you get, different responsibility. On a typical zone play, one linebacker could be responsible for running down the middle of the field. Another guy could be responsible for covering a wide receiver in the slot. So there's all different type techniques at every one, and to be able to go from play to play and not make any mistakes, and then play that technique the way you need it to be played to have success, that's what we're talking about.
Who's going to start at quarterback for you now?
I think we'll see how today goes and make a decision on that tomorrow.
Cully mentioned earlier this week when you played early in the season when Tyrod went down, you played Mills, that you had to adjust some things. Mm-hmm. And the main thing that you see other than experience is mobility.
Sure.
How does it affect you if you're going to play Davis over Tyrod not having the same mobility, whether it's pass plays or break it down and make it run?
Yeah, when you look at some of the things that Davis does, well, I think one of the better things he does do is throw on the run. I think we're fortunate to have two quarterbacks that are athletic enough to be able to move the pocket and do some things outside the pocket. While Davis probably hasn't had the explosive flash plays that Tyrod has had in terms of scrambling and running with the football, he's a capable athlete. So it definitely changes some things, but in terms of completely redesigning everything, I wouldn't say that's the case. But there's definitely things that we're going to play to Tyrod's strength or Davis's strength.
Considering how well Mills played against the Patriots, and he hadn't been able to come close to that, is that because of what the defense saw against the Patriots and they're playing you differently?
I think it's a number of things. I'm sure that has something to do with it, but ultimately it's him being able to get out there and be consistent. You watch going back last week and watching the Colts game, it was kind of a tale of two halves there, where he did some good things in the first half, and the second half just wasn't able to maintain and sustain it for the entire game. Where I think we would all agree that against New England, for the most part, he played a pretty solid game for the entire 60 minutes we were out there. So really for him, it's about being able to be consistent and carry the successes that he has from drive to drive, series to series, and be able to sustain that for an entire game.
If he does start the rest of the way, how full an evaluation can you make of a rookie quarterback after their first 10 or so games?
It's you can obviously make an evaluation, but the big thing again is going to be seeing continued growth in whatever role, whether that's a starter or as a backup. His ability on the practice field to be able to go and not make the same mistakes twice. We know he's got the arm talent and the ability to make all the throws, so it's just going to be about, again, like we talked about a second ago, being consistent and being able to go out there and continually improve in whatever role that may be.
Can you talk about, one of the things Coach Culley says is he keeps saying that you guys have to coach better. Without asking you specific plays, what are some things you can do offensively to effectively make some changes in what we've been seeing?
Yeah. As we continue to look at this, continue to look at the run game and continue to figure out different ways to try and get that going. Obviously, when you have an efficient run game, it kind of takes some stress off the quarterback position, takes some stress off the offensive line in terms of having to pass protect the entire game. So doing a better job of scheming up different runs, and just continuing to make sure that everyone's on the same page as far as what the intent of certain plays are and what we're trying to get out of certain things. And again, when we're on the field, to make sure that they're as prepared as possible. We can't go out there and it's not like Madden, although sometimes we wish it were, where you can control them and do some things. Like you've got to trust their preparation. And we've got to just continue to do a good job and improve on the jobs that we've been doing in terms of making sure that they're as prepared as possible and they understand the game plan thoroughly, and not just memorizing things. Because when you understand conceptually everything, you're able to adjust to some unscouted looks and some things that may pop up throughout the game. So, as a staff, we're continuing to work to make sure that they're as prepared as they can be when they get on the field.
McRae's return help what you're trying to do on the offensive line?
It helps a lot. He's a versatile guy. He's smart. He can play in multiple positions. So again, he's a guy that has some position flexibility that allows us to get our 5 best guys on the field. So it's good to have him back.
Coach, knowing that you are the one who called the plays and you all are averaging less than 200 yards in the last 3 games, 11 points a game in the last 3 games. How frustrating is that for you?
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Anything else?
Let me ask you one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Pro Football Focus says Titus is the highest rated pass protector and tackle in his 2 starts. Do you agree he's done a real good job in pass protection?
Titus has done a good job with everything that we've asked him to do. You know what I mean? Like, he's bumped around, he's played different spots, he's played next to different people, which is always a challenge at that position because they all work together. So Titus has done a good job, going out there to left tackle, and he's performed well, and we're looking for him to have another good game here on Sunday.
brought in Justin Britt and Lane Taylor, some of these guys on one-year deals. How much have you seen from them and what they brought to the team when they play?
Yeah, they brought some grit. They brought some edge. They brought a lot of experience. They both played in a lot of big games, throughout their careers, and they're big, strong, physical dudes. So they're having Lane out there, you can see him start to kind of come into form here, which has been good. And then getting JB back is going to be great. He's a good player and has been for a long time. So having those two guys on the field now for us has been good.
Okay, Seattle. Okay, so talking to different people the last few weeks and last few games, both on the opposing teams we were facing, I'm like, the last couple games are really the best special teams unit in the league that we're going up against. Between Indianapolis last week, Seattle this week, the New York Jets, obviously, they got the better of us in that game there on the special teams perspective. And you can make the argument that Seattle's the best going. And arguably, I think right now in 2021, their star player, Nick Bellore, is the best special teams player in the NFL. He's for being an interior type of player, he's really second to none. We have our hands full with him. So Travis Homer, they obviously hit the fake punt there last week to get him jump started and start that running game there for him. And then their specialists are pretty electric right now. So we have our hands full this week. So open up for questions.
This week, Cam Johnston's leading the AFC in Pro Bowl votes on his side. I mean, how does that reflect how he's played this year?
Yep. I actually didn't know that. I think that that's for other people to worry about, but specifically for his play, got to worry about the next punt. Put one last week on mishit directionally, got a big hit, great tackle, no gain on the punt return, but he's obviously just worried about the next one and wants to perform individually, and all that other stuff, accolades, all that stuff, that's an end of the season deal. We just got to maintain as a team and as our individual players maintain, hey, it's about this week, this game, this play, et cetera, so on and so forth. I think, that kind of resonates with our group, and they do believe that. That's not just talk. So keep it at that. Go ahead, sorry.
What has A.J. Moore meant to your special teams unit, and can you talk us through that big hit that he had last
Sure.
against the Colts?
Yeah, what he means to our special teams is a reflection of what the unit wants to be or the core group wants to be as a whole. We want to be fast. We want to be tough. We want to be physical. I think all things aside, making a mistake, he's going to make it fast, he's going to make it physical. Making a great play, he's going to make it the same. So, that's what he embodies. That's what we try to preach here, and I think, he represents those things. On the punt there, it was an incredible play, an exciting play. He did a great job of re-leveraging on a ball that started drifting. And we teach our guys, look, when you're down there, we trust you to make that impact tackle, make those shots, be aggressive, take that. So it's a great job of reading hands, playing through the hand reads of the returner, and not stopping his feet. And, of course, he took care of the rest there.
I think we'd like to find the positives in this season. Cam Johnston in his position is doing better than most are on this team. How would you assess the way he's kicked up to this point based on what you wanted when you got him?
Yep. When I first got here, I think, one of the questions was asked, what do you like about him? I said he's got an explosive leg, and, he can really get after the ball, can hammer that thing, the number one thing that he has done a great job of, is work, tirelessly. And he's a high volume worker. I would imagine he's one of the higher volume punters in the league on a practice week basis. The guy works, and he can handle that load, and that's how he likes to go about his business. But the number one thing he has worked to do is control and be consistent with his direction and matching hang to distance. Every once in a while we'll put a ball that's a 4-4 hang time that goes 50-plus yards in the middle of the field, and those stress you so much in coverage. You're spread out more, you're not able to funnel, you're not able to play off of each other as much. And he's done a good job of consistently trying and attempting to change the field or the direction of the punt, keep the returner on the move, so on and so forth. I think we saw that last week. When we needed the big ball, he hit the big ball kind of at the end of the half there. Hines had to catch it essentially, I think it was a net of 60 with no return on the tick marks on the sideline. That would be the number one thing. And he's going to continue to work at that, John. I think he'll admit to you, the times when they don't go well, the punt doesn't go well, it's hang's not matching distance, location's not matching where we're trying to cover. And then we take that to like Seattle's punter. obviously that guy's, Dixon's doing, equally as good, and he's putting the ball and letting his cover players, do their thing. And if you guys are familiar with Larry Izzo, probably number one trait of Larry Izzo is that he played with what's called instincts, and his hair was always on fire. Watch the tape. Put on the end zone copy of punts. Put on the end zone copy of kickoffs. The way that they play off of each other, I told our guys we need to watch this and learn from this as we studied how to beat them and win in those holdups. We've got to study that as our coverage units. They play off of each other so well. Nick Ballore leveraging those punts that Dixon's putting out there. It's a challenge, and that's what we did. We try to do here as well.
When Hill first got here, he was doing a lot more on special teams, especially earlier on the first part of the year. What did you see from him when he first arrived that early part of the season that showed what he's been able to do so far?
Sure, good technique, smart, willing to do whatever it takes. Football player first. And if he's starting linebacker, playing, 50, 60 snaps a game, and we need him to go play kick return or punt or kickoff cover, going to go do that. And I think that's an embodiment of the culture that we're trying to breed here. And I think that, he's playing into those just as everybody else is. So happy with where he started. And then whatever the role needs you to do, the team needs you to do. And in this case, it's an increase on the defensive end. So it might have taken away from some of the reps we're giving him in the special teams game. But, the things about him, like I said, the technique, he's smart, playing in punt protection, understanding the whole picture. He is very good at that. And I think it shows up with his reaction time on defense.
Two more. Frank, when you look at Michael Dixon and you just look at his overall length, but people don't really talk about his hang time. How do you prepare for something like that?
Yep, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. This league's about players. So as a coach, my job to ideally make the matchups to try and give us the best chance to hold up as long as we can, and then we're going to study every little thing, and hopefully on Sundays when we go out there and he's giving us a look, we're prepared for that look. When he's changing the direction on us based on his alignment and stance, we're doing as much as we can to counteract that and put ourselves in a position to set up, say, a return.
Last one.
When I forget the number, how many one-year contracts are on this team, but how much does special teams help serve figuring out whether those are guys you want around long term?
Yeah, special teams in general across the NFL, you guys, it's a developmental engine, especially for young players. I think someone last week was asking about Garrett Wallow. It's a developmental engine. Garrett got his first extended defensive snaps last week in the game. That's what this game is. It's how long can you stick around by doing the things the team asks you to do. Special teams is a great opportunity to do that, whether it's a one-year contract, a rookie, a veteran, whatever it may be. Winning teams are complementary football, 3 phases, and I think as long as I'm here, we're going to try to do that. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your contract looks like. I think just overall, you need to be a good football player, and whatever the team needs, that's going to breed our overall success as we grow here forward in the future.